Hello, and welcome to the Deeply Renegade podcast. My name is Molly, also known as the Deeply Renegade, and I'd like to welcome you guys to episode 413. Today is Saturday, May 21st, 2022, and I'm glad you could join me today. It is a beautiful windy day today. Already got our walk in. Let it be. Thing outlook is unclear for Berkeley Knitter meetup. Our original place of meeting is still having their deck redone, so we'll figure something out, probably. Or I'm showing up somewhere in East Bay with the mushroom tart. So, whatever. We'll get it worked out in the end. So, I'm trying to think. I don't think it'll be too crazy an episode this week. Because we're keeping on. So, one of those is this project, which, let me take a moment and figure out what in the world is happening here. There we go. Not so weird. So I would say that this is the project that ended up getting the most love this week. So this is Water Bearer Sweater, which is a Jacqueline Cieslak design. And I am working on a variation which is very brioche-alicious, because why knit a brioche sweater with only brioche panels when you can knit a brioche sweater with a brioche back and panels? So, and in exciting news, maybe, that's 2 sleeves. So, I was thinking that I was done with the sleeves, and then I tried it on like right before I was going to cut the yarn and graft it. I'm like, oh, this is a repeat yarn. So, actually, let's pull this off at least temporarily. There we go. So, sleeves. There was a little bit of battle damage in which I was accidentally dragging it on the ground. So I will need to, I will probably need to do a little bit of gleanering on it and make sure I'm happy with it. And if not, I can rip that part out and reknit it. This yarn was like so made for Russian join. It's amazing. It's so easy and beautiful. So lovely. And sheer camouflage. When the sweater is done, you will no longer be able to see me. But it's looking pretty good. So, a little bit. I am partially wondering if I wanted to do a little bit more on the sleeve. I'll wait until I block it before I decide. But so, and it is the case where I did sit down and there would be, so it'd be the case where after I cast off this sleeve, then I was able to I was able to weigh the project with one of my janky cable needles and using the other cable needle as a tear. And then I was able to weigh all the yarn that I had, and so it'd be the case where I'm at, I believe I think it's the 55% mark. 55.8? That was the wrong Excel spreadsheet. Yeah, 55.8%, which is exciting. Open. Okay. Close that. So, that is fun and festive. So I think this sleeve turned out to be like a smidge bigger than the other one. I definitely used 7 grams more yarn if the size of the balls were the same. So I'm gonna keep that ball in reserve to figure out whether or not I do need to do any rejiggering on it, but shouldn't be too crazy. And I think I'm actually getting pretty close to having all of the bust starts in, so that's good. But yeah, no, so now it's just working the rows. Not too crazy. It's a little bit funny because I would be like everything went zoom zoom when it was just the collar and just the back and just one side of the front, the other side of the front. So it's feeling a little bit more sloggy now that I'm working back and forth again. And I totally had a situation in which my needle fell out on the walk. So I had to, luckily I didn't have to retrace my steps too far to find it. It was like, I'm not losing another needle. So that's probably a valid argument that I should, would it be that I should probably join the cables together and make it so it's just a single long circular needle instead of what I've been doing now, but we'll get it figured out. And then would it be like my hope is, or would it be? I'll need to post some pictures. I'll see if I can get some slightly better pictures of it. Slightly better pictures of it when in the sunshine, because I got to this point in the evening. So far so good. So this is in Madeline Tosh Twist CK in the deep colorway. This was, I think, a base that they carried exclusively in their brick and mortar store. So it's looking pretty good. Would it be? I might have made a strategic mistake in which I zigged instead of zagged, so the collar does end up going pretty high up my neck, but like the brioche and back does look pretty nice. Let's see, can we turn sufficiently? Yeah, that looks good. So, not too shabby there. Maybe the only other thing is just making sure that it's like properly in rotation. But yay! So good to know that I'm more than halfway done with the sweater. The rest of it's gonna be pretty straightforward. Oops. And stuff going off the needles. As long as I don't inadvertently take it off the needles. Yeah, that was probably a little bit unfortunate, but we'll figure it out. All the stitches have been caught, so that's good. And then it was also good to know the skeins were generous skeins, so I had 5 skeins, but it all added up to like 585 grams. So I almost had like a whole skein extra for the sweater, which is exciting. So that should be good. Yeah, and then that calculation would be assuming that I knit all of the yarn. We'll see. We'll see if I manage to knit all the yarn. I guess I could go either way. So far so good there. The other project is the Scheherazade that I am knitting out of the Yarn Place Gentle, which is a cobweb weight merino cashmere blend. And what would it be? We are moving along here as well. If I check, was not the thing I wanted to maximize. So if we check the spreadsheet, I did just weigh it. It's looking like we're holding steady at needing 14 repeats, which would mean that we need to scroll a little bit. Okay, so if we're doing the 14 repeat variation, then I guess I'm at the 20% mark here. So we're 22%. Though it is the case where when I have done updates, my yarn usage seems to be a little bit quicker than my projection was, but the assumption is that with this method, if my counts are correct, then the more stitches I knit, the better my estimate for yarn per stitch is, basically. As you do. So, what would it be? So it'd be the case where I have gone through a decent amount of the beads. At some point I'll have to transfer the bad beads into this container. And then I have a whole nother tube there. And I haven't sat down and done my little calculations to figure out how many more beads I'll need. I will wait until I'm done, or wait until I start, when either I run out of beads or I start the border chart. But it's good to know at this point that it's still looking like, or would it be? So it'd be the case where I knit to my 5 repeats, plus 1, I think, and that was saying 16 repeats of the body chart. Knit to some more. Did that, figured it out, and said that was going to be 14 repeats of the border chart. We're now to the point where I waited again after, what would it be? So right now I think I just finished 9. Yeah, I'm in the middle of 9 repeats, and that's saying still 14 to go. So that's comforting. So not too crazy there, and it's now looking much more like a reasonable sort of size for a shawl. Yeah, so we're getting to the point where we're almost a little bit too big for the cable. And I think this is the case, yeah. So I'll be launching into chart 2 when I start working on whatever, when I start knitting on this again. So what it be? So it's sort of like that give and take, because in some ways I want to knit to the bead row, do the bead row, and then set it down. But then there's like the other thing of like knitting to the repeat, which then means you're not too far away from the next bead row again. I don't know, it's a lot of beads. So the shawl is going to have some good, even though it's going to be like 80 grams, it will be very big and very hefty because of all the beads. So, not too crazy there. But what is it? Definitely into the, or what was it? I think it was the case where it's like, this is 16 grams. 16 grams knit. So, that is moving forward. I have not cast anything new on. We'll see whether or not that changes. If I continue having issues with the sweater on the block, might need to mix it up. It is mindless enough, I think, for my purposes. Get this bit of gorgeousness back on. So this is my, oh, now I'm like, it's a Jimmy Nance pattern. It's out of 2 different hand-spun yarns, my merino yak silk, or it might just be yak silk, I don't know, and then camel silk. Aggregate. It would come to me eventually. So I'm honestly wondering, I don't know whether or not I've made any progress on this guy. I might not have. I ended up getting into a run of working on, or to be part of this was I really wanted to finish that sleeve. So I didn't end up doing any spinning last night. And what would it be? And it was the case where I was sort of breaking my little rule and continuing to wheel spin. And trying to pack some fiber onto the bobbin. That's probably the sign that I am losing patience on the spindle portion of this project and am ready to move on. That is a distinct possibility. So, I don't know, perhaps I could still change my mind, but as you do. And now I have for sure worked on it this week because I just worked on it. So, yeah, so I didn't end up doing as much on the spindle portion of it. It still looks like there's a lot of fiber in here. Or I'm definitely not close to an ounce right now here. But while I was in the midst of spinning on my wheel, I actually had my dry bed break. So after 7 years of dedicated service, it ended up coming apart. I made an attempt at fixing it, but I don't think I was quite patient enough. So it's the case where in order to fix a poly band like this, you trim, which I'm not sure whether or not I'm going to actually retrim this when I try fixing it again. I didn't get it melty enough. So I trimmed, because the other thing about this polyband was I ended up taking a bit of a break from spinning, and I left the polyband fully stretched on the wheel, and for whatever reason that seemed to stretch it out. So it was the case where I had like, I don't know, probably a solid like 4 inches, maybe 6 inches extra, that I didn't need. And I'm fairly certain that I do have a fully connected replacement polyband that I got when I got the wheel, and I'm pretty sure it isn't this interesting yellow color. But I figured I would fix this one and continue to use it, and then if it breaks again, then I can break out the replacement one. So what you end up doing is you take like a little tea candle, and you end up holding the ends by near the flame, in order to get it sort of melty and mushroom shaped, and then when everything is all sort of liquidy on the ends, you smush them together and hold them for a couple of minutes. And I'm betting I didn't get it melty enough and didn't hold it long enough before putting it down. So would it be, and just seemed to be a little bit spatially challenged at the same time as well. So I will end up taking another pass at fixing this, so that I can get back to using my Lindrum. But, like, whoop. Let's see if we can't. Yeah, it might be a little bit challenging to bring this in focus, but I did end up getting, I think, 2 or 3 balls in on this, before I ended up having a little boo-boo, and it popped while I was spinning it, so I still have quite a bit of fiber here left to go. But yeah, for some reason that was what ended up feeling good and interesting, so that is what I decided to do. So, I don't know, it definitely feels like there's way less balls left to go on this project, so it'd be the case where, would it be? I don't know, there might end up being, yeah, so I have like 8 in here right now. So not too many more to go, but I think because Stash Dash is starting soon, I would like to wrap up the spinning project and count it for Stash Dash so that I can count whatever other spinning I end up doing for that as well. Normally I would have built up quite a lot of spinning, but I think because this project is moving slowly, that has sort of slowed everything else down as well. Now this is making me sort of curious as to how many. I feel like there are way more little balls in here. There's gotta be more. 3, 6. 9. 12. Okay, so I have 14 to go in here. And then 8 to go over there, so I definitely got a little lopsided on that one. But whatever, it's not too crazy. Not worried about it. So if I end up doing the last 9 balls on the wheel, I'm fine with that. That is perfectly acceptable in my mind. I'm ready for the project to be done. So, Stash Dash starts next week. I have some socks that need to be cast off. Adding zippers to things will not count. As you do. It'll be amusing to reknit the hat that I counted for last year's Stash Dash, or was that 2 years ago? Who knows? That might be 2 years ago. So we'll get it all figured out. What would it be? Like, it could be big yardage to have the shawl, but I don't know. Maybe I'm feeling pessimistic about finishing the shawl this summer, or maybe something will change, but or I don't know if that would go into my theory of like my theory of start 2 projects, whichever one gets finished first, and then exclusively working on the other project, and then when I have no projects left, casting on 2 things. I suppose that life is going to end up changing because the start of Stash Dash also means the end of leave. So there is that. So that's been kind of lightly buzzing around my brain. It's just figuring out like, okay, what's going to change? And honestly, having a convenient walking project is probably on the list. Of things I won't need anymore. So, whatever. But yeah, there isn't going to be a lot of saved up stuff. Hopefully there'll be some decent progress on my 2 projects going forward. Maybe I cast on the hat as a palette cleanser sort of thing. It is a possibility, because for some reason garter sounds lovely right now. I might need garter. We don't know. So we'll see how that all works out. I don't think I am going to be. I guess I am planning on starting Stash Dash with a bang, in which I will cast off socks. That's the only plan. And then I feel like, what would it be? It'd be the case where the focus for the next 2 weeks is just sort of sorting and organizing and tidying and that sort of thing. So, finish writing thank you cards. Get thank you cards mailed places. So at this point, or would it'd be the case where it seems to be like a boom and bust. They'll be like, okay, clearing off the desk, and then be like, okay, let's go, okay, clear off the desk. So we'll eventually get figured out. But what would it be? I suppose whatever, just pondering what or things that I've been doing that I won't be able to do. Like, popping into the grocery store to pick up just what I need for the day. Because when I'm walking anyways, then it's not too crazy. So, we'll figure something out. But yeah, so just a little bit of battle damage this week, but hopefully it's not too crazy. And should be good. So with that, I hope you guys have a lovely week, and I look forward to talking to you guys next week. So take care, guys. Bye-bye.